Here's a really interesting, natural human interaction that I had in the last week that I thought was really interesting to pass on, just to show the interconnectedness of people who come across each other as total strangers. So I got a text, look at the phone, and immediately I realized that this person meant to send the text to somebody else, and it was the wrong number. You know, typically, and this I'm sure happens to everybody, you just may ignore that. But it was a really nice personal message to someone inviting their friend over for dinner. So I felt obliged to respond and say, hey, you got the wrong number, sorry. So it was a nice lady who responded then, and we started this little back and forth conversation between total strangers who will never meet. And she said, oh, I'm really sorry. I hope I didn't spoil your beautiful day. I thought that was really nice. And I said, of course, no problem, no worries. She said, you know, if you're out in California ever, and she's texting a number to New York, then maybe we could meet and have dinner. And I really thought that was funny. And she said, you know, I didn't realize it was the wrong number. I'm such a stupid woman, and I apologize. She said something, you know, interesting, that it's nice for people that are strangers just to be able to say hello. And there are two things that I really got out of this that I wanted to pass on. One is, yes, we are all connected. And if we happen to come across someone who's a stranger, it's such a nice interaction that we had, a nice exchange. I'm sorry for inconveniencing your day. Oh, no worries. I just wanted to let you know, that you had the wrong number and you should get in touch with your friend. It just brings home that we can be nice to people that we are never going to get anything from, we're not going to have any relationship with, but that's another person in the world that we are connected to in the, fabric of the world and the world we live in. And it's just so nice to be able to take a moment out of your time to a total stranger and have a little banter back and forth, and to, care enough to say, oh, you got the wrong number. And she says, oh, I hope I didn't spoil your day. The other thing that I think is just as important is I felt called to respond to her when she said, I'm such a stupid woman, because this really strikes at the heart of my message and what I want to get out to people, and it hits home directly into the psychedelic message and consciousness that whatever we say, whatever we think, the words that come out of our mouth are a projection, and they cause waves. Anything that comes out of our mouth has actual meaning and will ripple through the quantum. So I always harp on, don't speak negatively, and especially don't talk about yourself in a negative way. And at the risk of being rude or overstepping the line, I responded to her and I said, listen, if I may, don't speak badly about yourself. You have to love yourself, and the effect of saying something negative, even in jest, is significant. And if I could be so bold to highlight that, I think this is important. And she responded with a thank you. And I have no idea what this woman's life is like, what her interactions are. I just want to convey that message to everyone, that the things you say, the things you think, what comes out of your mouth is vitally important. And when we talk about self-love, it's really significant that you speak of yourself highly, that you think of yourself highly, that whatever is going on in the day, you should really think of yourself as the highest version of who you are and what you can be. And this is a message that I now conveyed to a stranger, because she's as worthy as anyone of this message. And I wanted to take the time out of my day to communicate to a total stranger that, hey, this is important. And even though we don't know each other, I want you to know this. And so it was just a really, interesting interaction that I think is funny on the one level, but on a deeper level, I think is really important, and it brings about and highlights a couple of examples of the messages and lessons that I have learned that I want to convey. And I thought that, this was just a really kind of interesting way to, convey that as things just unplanned happen out of life, these really interesting interactions. So if Aaron in Irvine is listening to this or comes across this, I hope you have a really good day.